And I'm delighted. Okay, and I'm very happy today to share about the environmental data science book, a computational notebook community for open environmental science. I prepared this presentation with Anne, that is here, and Scott Hoskin, and as well we are in behalf of the EDS book community that all contributors or people we need to recognize their work. Uh, Maybe just to contextualize everyone, like EDS book in terms of resource is a living, free, and open online ebook to showcase and support the publication of data, research, and open source tool for collaborative, reproducible, and transparent environmental data science. And somehow with this illustration, we are aiming to reflect the diverse community that we are targeting, people who are working in different ecosystems, and we are aiming that they communicate their science, in this case through reproducible, scalable, and shareable interactive notebooks that in this case are indeed set in a Jupyter book, and they can communicate that to the target audience, and from this people can generate new ideas. Our mission is to educate and leverage good scientific software and data management practices among environmental scientists through peer-reviewed, fair executable notebooks. And our vision is environmental scientists work collaborative to demonstrate and communicate their science through fair executable notebooks and have gained significant skills to publish in notebook-based scholarly publication system. It's a topic that I guess I'm very excited and will say something about that later. Main motivation about this, maybe like me, like while I was doing my PhD, I was using a lot of Jupyter notebooks, and I wasn't very confident about the quality of my notebooks and if they were using the right tools. I guess this is something that is happening not just for me, or other people have the same problem. So with this community, we are aiming to improve notebooks publication system and having people who have domain knowledge and can improve the narrative, people who have more software experience and can suggest tools to improve the tools that you are using in your notebook, and finally a plan for where we have a standard template and make some edits and can communicate better to the target audience, and people can customize the outputs through interactive code. That is one of the features that you can offer through these Jupyter notebooks. In terms of publishing process, we have 7 stages and 5 kind of roles. These stages are common in open journal like yours, but in this case, we start with a notebook idea, and this is happening in the EDS book repository, and we have a conversation between the authors and editors in chief, and as well, community can provide some feedback to the notebook idea that is started by the author in terms of inputs about data, open source tools. Then we have a preparation that is mostly to prepare a notebook repository that is validated by the editors in chief and is validated that is ready for having a working version that is reproducible in Binder and is ready to have the review process. And this pre-review and review, I guess most of you are familiar in the Pageo community, is a process that allows to have a moderation and improvement of the software, in this case, Jupyter notebooks. Finally, we have another stages that are like common in this publication, post-print, where we share the proof to the author and validate that everything's okay. Publication, where we communicate through our Twitter or social media accounts, and also authors do that if they want. And post-publication is very important because community have another role here to report bugs or suggest changes in terms of the software and structure. And if they have significant contribution, they can be gain a kind of credit about this in the citation of the notebooks. We are trying to maximize open infrastructure. And in this diagram is something related to the previous one, but in these different stages, how we are using existing resources. For the notebook idea, all people or contributors can add that opening an issue in the EDS book repository. And then in preparation to review, we are using to I2C report to Docker hub template. And this one is we adapted that in the way that people are using a template, and this template allow them to prepare the notebook, and they validate that the notebook is working and is reproducible in a binder instance through this template. And after it's validated, we transfer to EDS Book Gallery organization in GitHub. And before that, we assign permanent identifiers through Rohu. This is a platform that we are collaborating in Europe about handling the life cycle of research object, and it's very important in terms of metadata and also to generate the DOIs of the notebooks. And in this state, I guess Pangeo community is very familiar how Dockerizing environments are relevant. In this case, we are Dockerizing specific software that are required by each of the notebook repositories. We are using notebook review to facilitate checking the differences and moderate the discussion between authors and reviewers. And once everything's okay, we add the Jupyter notebook repository as a submodule in a Jupyter book. And we check the proof through Netlify. As I say, we have a post-publication stage where authors, where community is welcome to provide feedback, and if they have a significant contribution, we create a new DOI about new version of the notebooks. This project started because I was gaining in somehow some knowledge about open source in the start of my postdoc. So I was very interested, and I'm still very interested about Pangeo ecosystem and applying in my main research about machine learning. But Pangeo, all existing notebooks that we have are highlighting exploration or models in environmental science using Pangeo stack. We are trying that all the notebooks have very interactive charts or graphics, and we are showing that to the Holobits ecosystem, and they are findable indexed in GitHub, in Jupyter Book, and Rohu. This Rohu is very important because all notebooks you can discover in Google or search engines through a kind of connection that allow to be discoverable in Rohu. Finally, most than reproducible, I guess any of us can try to rerun the notebooks in Binder and Jupyter Hub with certain connections that we have and badges in the notebooks themselves. Inspired by the Pangeo Gallery, we have as well our own gallery, but it has our own flavors, I will say, and we have added some tags. And all notebooks share a common template. They have a title, they have certain tags, they have these badges that they say the license, where to launch in Binder. We have a very sophisticated way to schedule the notebook, but checking they are working. People can check the review of process of all the notebooks, and we have these other badges about the Rohu platform where they can check the metadata and the DOI. Very important about this notebook, we are trying to have good practices about giving credits to the data providers or the original modeling code base or other kind of contributions. Okay, so I just want to mention that this is the main repository, and this is the website that we have at the moment. We are working towards a new version, minor in development, but if you go to the welcome page, we have here a gallery, and you can access to, this is a sample of the notebooks, but you can visit our gallery here or in the left panel. And at the moment we have 10 notebooks. One of the notebooks that I would like to highlight is one about CI forecasting. And it is very important because here, IceNet is a very nice project that use deep learning to do this particular task. But the original source code is not very easy to access. So with this notebook, we demonstrate and facilitate how people can somehow understand the model in a better way. And we achieved that with these notebooks, and we were able to reproduce the result of a Nature Communication paper. At the end, if you open this in the citation, this DOI, they will take you to this platform that I mentioned you about Rohu. And Rohu is a platform that allows us to map all the life cycle of the research object. In this case, this is DOI, but we have a more living object of this. And very similar to GitHub, you can forward, you can create snapshots, you can see all the metadata about the reference, the input, the output. Even I can put the links to the log files, and I can launch this one in the European public cloud. And they have some test mining services that are not available in GitHub, and it allows to discover automatically which are the topics covered in this research object. Okay, I'm just getting back to the presentation. So far with this EDS book initiative, we have provided guidelines and templates. We have the notebooks. All notebooks have a DOI that is persistent, and we have achieved that through Rohu. And we have some meetings, but are not those meetings that are very technical level like Pangeo communities, but meetings. But I guess we have achieved something in terms of improving the resource. Activities in the next months. Something that we are thinking, we have a section, a chapter about community, and we are aiming maybe why not to monitor all the software stats similar to Pangeo in other and other communities in other languages like Julia and R, and maybe have a kind of dashboard monitoring their health, and this will help our contributors in different notebooks to select which one they want to play with according to their needs or preference. We are no longer having community calls as we would prefer. We are collaborating a lot with the Turing Way, and they are creating a new channel that is environmental sustainability, where we are aiming to discuss topics about the impact of open research in this particular team. We potentially will have more developers co-working activities where we are aiming to improve the resource. Finally, partnerships with environmental research networks, open education, open source developers, and publishing ecosystem. Everyone here can get involved in these activities. About this dashboard, we are actually working in an issue. Potentially, we are trying to identify the way to create a kind of project dashboard very similar to the HoloBiz, and maybe will be beneficial for people who are contributing to these notebooks and are newcomers or early adopters of these packages. In terms of the community meetings, if you are interested, we have in the community tab certain information where we have these meetings. And in terms of partnership, I just want to highlight that it will be nice that we have more like a stable version in development still to communicate this to NASA tops. We are part of these notebooks now initiative, and we are trying to contribute to that as well. I will mention about a reproducibility challenge that we are partnership with Climate Informatics, and finally we are presenting this in JupyterCon next month and share to the Jupyter community. Just to mention, and already sharing this in the Pangeo discourse, Climate Informatics organizers that you can see here, the different partners, trust in the EDS book. And we are happy to announce that we are having a kind of repository challenge where they are trying to reproduce scientific papers from the EDS journal. And we will have teams of 2 or 4 people, and they are aiming to reproduce and innovate with all these software stats that are scalable in the terms of Pangeo if they are using Python. And they at the end will have this DO target notebooks published in the Environmental Data Science Book website. We have a kind of link to the repository challenge, and we are also preparing a dedicated website where we are going to have a call to reviewers and more resources about this. So big thank you to the communities that inspire us. So as I say, all this started thanks to Pangeo and HoloBiz that are the main ecosystem that we are using our notebooks. Project PTI is very important when we like to say to our contributors to look for education, and as well Open Life Science. This project was validated in this program that maybe some of you are familiar, and we are working to implement good practices thanks to the Turing Way in terms of community. So far, the main readers of these are UK and US, and we hope that this resource is very important in the long-term goal of having this notebook base as a main publication system for scientific journals. And finally, you are welcome to follow us in our social networks, in our website, and as well the repository hosted at the Alan Turing organization. Thank you.